So good morning everyone and welcome to Achaibo Clinical Research Q&A calls. I am Bea, assistant to Tengu, and I'll be working with you in the background to assist you with all things related to the Achaibo online training program. So before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know what we're going to do on today's event. On your screens, you'll see participant interface where you can see the microphone, video icons, the participant list, chat reaction, or emoticons. You can click the hand button so that you'll be able to raise your hand when you have questions or experiencing technical issues. We have everybody else automatically muted so we don't hear background noises as others join in. You will have the opportunity to submit your text questions to us by typing your questions in the Q&A box. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. You could also raise your hand by pressing the hand button and we'll have you unmuted before you speak up for your questions. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Tengu Muna, the founder and the CEO of the Achaibo Clinical and the creator of our online course, the Ultimate Clinical Research Toolbox.
Hello, Bea. Good morning, Lee. Just so you guys know, I was running behind because I was leaving a message for B and Lee, and I thought, wow, it's time. And I'm glad we are starting right on time. That's important. Welcome, Davika. Elizabeth is there. Kevin, Margaret, and Nicodemus. Delighted you guys are here. I am Tengu Muna, and that was my team that I just mentioned. I am going to go over a bit of the agenda today. It's a very simple call. The aim is that you leave here feeling inspired. First, about this incredible clinical trials industry, that it continues to transform lives. It continues to improve patients' lives, right? And also the lives of clinical research professionals. And then I'm going to talk about how to transform your life, because the way that our programs are structured, we are all about clinical trials, but we always talk about little ideas and tools that you can use to help you at work, whether you're in this industry or you are not. Okay. Now, if you have not met me before, again, I am Tengu. I'm delighted all of you are here. I am all about clinical trials. I have been in clinical operations for over 18 years. And clinical operations, we manage clinical trials globally. So we are the heart of clinical trials, right? We help to, once we get a protocol or project, we set it up, we recruit the different countries and clinical investigators involved and clinical research sites. We are the ones who manage the operations piece of the trial, make sure that everything is moving according to plan in terms of timelines, deliverables. And then we work with all the different team members across the globe or in a specific country, whether it's the pharmacovigilance people, medical monitors, data managers, a whole slew of people, really. That's what we do. Our goal is to get everything done and then submit to the regulatory body. So that's my passion. That's what I've done for over 18 years. I am very passionate about this industry and how it's transforming patients' lives and my life and all the other clinical research professionals that I've been working with around the globe. Now, I've focused a lot on thought leaders and emerging markets lately because that's where those are the markets that are opening up. You know, we, as you will notice later, we have a map of the proliferation of clinical trials across the globe, and there's certain areas that we don't have a density of those trials. So that's what we this is where we are. This is me. I'm delighted that you're here, excited that you're joining us. I have worked with small and large sponsors across various therapeutic areas, but my passion is really coaching and mentoring study teams. I enjoy bringing different types of people together with different ideas and working on global projects and ensuring that we actually take it all the way to the end. And we also feel inspired doing that because I don't know about you guys, right? We want to make sure that we are feeling inspired when we're working, okay? And also that we really respect the diversity of opinions because sometimes I'm working on trials that are being run here in the US, but they're across maybe 60 countries. And so we have to respect our team members all across the globe. And that's really one of my passions. It's to allow for people around the world to understand what this industry is about and join it. And for those in the industry, if you're in clinical operations and you're trying to figure out what next step do I make, hopefully you can get something from us that is going to fuel the next step for your career. The other thing that I'm passionate about is audits. I love audits because actually the programs here at Achaibo Clinical came from a lot of the audits that we've conducted, inspections. And I looked at all the best practices and said, okay, how can we make sure that we provide people with tools and services that are really going to help them be great clinical research professionals based on the findings that we've had? Okay. Online and offline marketing tools, love that. And as many of you know, or you may not know, we have got to market clinical trials. We have got to market them. We have to convince people that they can participate in our trials. James, delighted to have you. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for typing that in the chat. We appreciate you. Okay, so I created Achaibo Clinical because, what I noticed was this, you guys. Many people who are creating programs out there have not been in the industry. There is there is a lot of theory, right? There's something about being in this industry for so long, starting from the lowest level at the site level, moving into various roles, and eventually really helping drive clinical trials globally. There's something that cannot be bought. And so I created these programs because I want to really give people hands-on tools. How can you be the best? And majority of my experience has been working with sponsors, right? If the act pharma companies, biotech, biopharma, and anything in between. And also I've worked with a few vendors for maybe 10% of the time to see, how they view clinical trials. But overall, it's knowledge that comes from the best sponsors and how they're very good at running successful clinical trials. Okay. Yes, he's welcome. Okay, so let us move on. I'm delighted you guys are following. Let's talk about clinical trials, okay? As you can tell, I'm passionate about this industry. This industry literally transformed my life. It wasn't planned. I left school, went to do some work with the United Nations in Tanzania, back then the UNICTR. If those of you who don't know, the Tribunal for United Nations Tribunal for Rwanda, did some work. But then because of the international experience that I had there, I literally did not know who's going to be in an office I'm opening. I would open up a door. Somebody is from, Sudan, or I would open up a door. They're from the Philippines. I would open up a door. They're from Malaysia. Like I literally did not know. And I really loved that. And so when I came back to the US, I said to myself, I really want to work in an industry that affects people around the globe because, guys, I'm very passionate about inclusion of different types of people. Okay, because that's really, particularly in emerging markets, Africa is dear to my heart because that's where I'm originally from. But because of the way that I grew up and the travels that I've done and being in this global industry that has allowed for me to travel, work with different types of people, my goal is to expose people to the best information so that you can be successful. So let's go back to clinical trials. You can Google this. It's simple. They're research investigations. But the part that I always talk about every week is that we're preventing, detecting, treating, and managing various diseases. But now look at the trends in technology, right? AI, robotics. We have CRISPR now, gene editing. I mean, there's so much that is going on. Even the mechanism of action and how we target disease is completely different. So we do treat and manage various diseases. That's the bulk of what we do. But in future, it's going to be prevention and detection, because even the detection mechanisms for oncology right now, it's amazing to me, you guys. And you know who drives that? A lot of the biotech and biopharma. So I've done a lot of work on biotech and biopharma, which has been so wonderful, is that you have it starts with the biotech and biopharma. They're these smaller companies, they're startup companies, and some of them go on to get bigger, right? Sometimes they get acquired by the larger companies, but they're the ones who drive the innovation. And so I'm always dabbling between working for massive companies. I say working consulting, because what I do mostly is consulting now, consulting with large companies and as well consulting with small companies. So guys, I am in both worlds, and I'm a bit of a techie, geeky person myself. So anything that has to do with innovation and how to really make our lives better is so dear to my heart. Okay. This industry is unique and it's special. It is decentralized, which means that we can conduct clinical trials anywhere in the world based on the parameters of the protocol. So the protocol is the Bible of the project. It tells us, what we're studying, what indication it is. It gives us background information about, the trial, what other trials have taken place, how we're going to recruit patients, what type of patients we want to recruit, everything that we need to know about that the project and the investigational product, whether it's a drug, it's a device, it's a biologic. Okay, decentralized, it can be run anywhere in the world. If we need 10 countries, we run it in 10 countries. If we need 60, we run it in 60. We need 1,000 patients, then we know we have to run it in as many facilities as possible. What I enjoy right now, because of the trajectory of my career, is the globalization piece. And as you guys heard earlier, I'm all about globalization, working in a world where we are all helping each other out, taking all the skills and talents that I have and being able to work with others, right? And learn from their skills and talents and then impart whatever I have. And that's really what it is. And clinical trials are now, I say, hot in the emerging markets, right? Africa, South America, APAC region. I mean, that is the hot market right now, particularly Africa. I mean, there is such a need to run more clinical trials there. Okay. This is a sector that is adaptable, okay, which means that we adapt to whatever the situation is in the market. So there's a lot of innovation happening in terms of what kinds of products are being brought to the market, but also in an emergency situation like the pandemic that just happened. That was an emergency case. See, I mean, the vaccines came out as quickly as possible. We still have a lot of different types of vaccines and prevention that is still being studied right now. As you guys saw, Pfizer just released something last week regarding, I think it was last week or the week before, there's a new product that you can take that really reduces the viral load if you have COVID. So just that. So I want you to think about the amount of innovation in this industry, you guys. And before proceeding, let me make sure all of you guys are here. You're following. I see new people are joining. Hello, Chidima. I am delighted you're here. I said hi to Devika. James said hi. He's from South Sudan. Hi, Margaret. So delighted you guys are still following and that you're here. So I'm talking about adaptability, okay? If I can stay on that page and not have quick fingers, right? Oh my goodness. So adaptability, so it adapts, and that's what we need. But the one that I enjoy the most, which I remember when I started doing these webinars, I was not talking about transferable skills. But when it occurred to me that because I said to myself, so I came into this industry 18 years ago. I do not have a medical background. My background is political sciences. Maybe that's the reason why I'm excelling so much on the, globally, because I love the global management of trials and seeing different people from different places participate. And the thing that I learned from the success that I've had, so the two reasons why I really think I've been successful in this industry, I have a very open mind. Globalization, that's my thing. So, well, let's say three things. It's probably more, but I'll just say three for now, you guys. So the second thing is the mindset and success coaching. So outside of this, I became a certified coach, certified yoga instructor, and I took all of that. And I'm an avid reader. I'm constantly looking for ways that I can expand my life, my consciousness, because when I do that, in this industry, I can be better, and when I manage massive teams, that's the thing that fuels everything that I do. That's the fuel for my success. But the thing that I want to focus on is transferable skills. So now I have a skill set, which is why I keep saying everybody should participate in this industry. When you have a skill set, okay, that you always have opportunities wherever you are in the world. But here's the kicker, you guys. I live here in the US. And last year I was working on a Japan-Korea study. That was what I was managing. currently managing a study across 60 countries, but I'm in the US, right? It's just something about being able to have a skill set that you can use anywhere in the world. And with the way that the world is evolving, we absolutely want to be in those industries that really help us to have a global vision for our lives. So that's really important. So transferable skills, if you're living in your neighborhood and your skill set, the minute that you get out of your neighborhood, your skill set stops past that neighborhood, that's a problem, right? Because, you don't want a skill set where, the minute you get into your car or a taxi or whatever, or cab, and you leave your neighborhood, that's you can't find a job anywhere else. But when you have a skill set like this that is global, there is heavy use of technology, but also remote work, right? The way the industry is, it's a lot of the work is remote. I've been working remotely for the past 18 years, and you just have that flexibility, right? So transferable skills, whatever you think about today regarding this industry, think transferable skills. So long as I can speak the language and I am in clinical operations, or I'm running clinical trials, I can go work anywhere in the world and I'll always have a job. I can stay where I am and I will have access to companies outside of my country. And that's super important. Okay, so let us move on. Are you guys following? Raise your hand if you're following. I might be just going on and on. And can you just yeah, thank you, you guys. Keep following. Fantastic. Good, good, good. Yes. Of course, Elizabeth is following. Elizabeth coaches with me. So, hey, she's amazing. So that's where we are. Let us move on and see there are more things being. Oh, yes. Yes, James. I am glad you're following. Remember the map I mentioned earlier about the proliferation of clinical trials? I think somebody else just joined us. Mary Ann, I suspect it's you. I'm really good. Welcome. This recording is going to be available on YouTube. B always does an amazing job. She has it on there for you. They're recording some previous webinars. You can go and watch it as well. So let's talk about this map. Okay, look at all the green areas. Opportunity for clinical trials, clinical research, professionals. I mean, there are industries that are red all over the world like this, just red. I mean, there's no room for growth. Green, this is where we currently are in the world. I have to get the latest version of this map. Things have changed slightly, but overall, this is the deal. This is a space where the number of clinical trials can never meet the professionals that are in the industry. Why? It's an experience-based industry, okay? Which means that you have to, get in, learn it, and then grow. Because, there are certain rules and regulations. It's a highly regulated industry because we're dealing with humans, we're dealing with patients. And so I always say patients are better off in a clinical research trial than actually going to see their PCP or their primary care practitioner going to a hospital. Because in clinical trials, we monitor every single thing from when an FI or first in human situation occurs, the drug hits or biological, whatever we're studying, hits a patient, we got to monitor them, right? Because we run clinical trials for two. The major reason is safety, right? We want to get to our data. We want to submit it to the regulatory bodies around the world, but we got to make sure our patients are safe and the data is integral to what we're studying. If it's fake data, it's a problem. So it's highly regulated. And that's why it's just tough to grow it so quickly, okay? With the way that the world is changing technology, like I said before, we're going to get a lot more, and there is more funding being spread around the globe now. So that is good. So that's where we are. Opportunity, right? I say opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. It's a good thing. And then look at this map in two ways. Look at the fact that there are green areas, but also think about new companies that are popping up that would need additional clinical research professionals wherever they are in the world. So I haven't mentioned this in the previous call, but I just want you guys to understand that it's not just that we don't have enough, but there's so many opportunities because it's a transferable skill. It's remote, so you can work with. You could be in one country working in a completely different country, right? And if you're in one of these areas where it's green, then my goodness, think about how many companies could contact you. So just whatever country you're in, do not be worried by, oh, we don't have a lot of pharmaceutical companies here because No, a pharmaceutical company from might need clinical research professionals in your country, and they will do that. They will contact you. And of course, regarding cost, many companies now run trials globally because it does cost, we know it does cost cutting, but also for the diversity, particularly in Africa, there's such a high need because of the genotype and phenotype, right? We have over 3 million or over 2 million, right? And so there's just a need for clinical trials in places that are non-white, right? It's basically making sure that there's diversity, and the world is changing. The western part of the world no longer has the accumulation of wealth. It's basically being, now we have this whole spread of the middle class all across the globe, and people can afford more things. And so the standard of living is getting higher, and also pharmaceutical companies know that, and they want professionals from this country, and they want to create products that also meet the needs of this country. But there's also funding now available for small startups in these emerging markets. Okay, enough said. That was a mouthful. I am passionate about what I do. So, what is the mission here at Achaibo Clinical? You're on this call thinking, yeah, thank you, Tengu. That was nice. But so, what is this about? So, I mentioned earlier why I created Achaibo Clinical, because for me, it's a very passionate thing. It's based on my experience in this industry, seeing what has happened, looking at unmet needs. So in clinical trials, we have unmet needs. So there's certain companies that work on products where there's certain populations that are neglected, right? And so the goal now is to make sure that we're not only working on products that pertain to a certain group of people or certain income level, right? We're making sure that we are improving the health of everybody. So for my part, how I translated that was, what is the unmet need in clinical operations? We don't have enough clinical research professionals, CRAs, particularly clinical research associates, clinical research monitors, there's such a high need for that. And then at the clinical research site level, we need people to just come understand what the basics are. What is a clinical research site? How is it set up? What is this about? So you can kind of understand how this industry works, right? So my goal is to provide that kind of hands-on training, giving you tools and resources so you can be better. You can come into the industry, or you can understand what the industry is about. And, I say opportunity is a very interesting thing. It's like you're standing at a train station and there are trains that are going by. But they say the door will open and then you just get on any train. But here's the thing: when you're prepared, when you have the right information and the opportunity train comes by and you get on it, you're going to be so successful. But if you're not prepared, the opportunity train comes by, you're not going to see it. If you don't know what clinical trials are about, you don't understand the industry, you don't know what clinical research sites do, and the opportunity train for clinical research comes about, you're going to go like, what is this about? So I always say I am all about knowledge, learning. I learn a lot from my peers as well. I work with a lot of, amazing professionals, medical doctors across the globe who run trials, people on my team as well. I'm always learning from them and understanding what they do, right? Because I really believe that it's the knowledge. The only reason why we stay stuck is where we are, because there's a gap between the knowledge of how we can get to the next level. So that's important. And so that's my passion, giving you information about clinical operations. It's my thing. It's the most important piece in this industry. And that's where majority of clinical research professionals are. Now, but the other thing that I'm really passionate about is giving you the success mindset coaching. So success mindset to me means that in addition to talking about clinical research, we also have to discuss your mindset. Where are you? What tools can you use to move you to the next step in your life? If you're in this industry, how can you advance? Okay, so that's how we are set up. Now, so what are our programs about? I couldn't even say that. Wow. So you guys, for some reason, those words could not come out, and this is something that I do every week. Now, our program is a foundational practical training on managing clinical trials. I talked about that. Hands-on training based on global sponsor experience. The core of what we do, so we have two programs which I'll get into. The main program is clinical research monitors. You want to know what a clinical research monitor does, because if you know what a clinical research monitor does, you've understood the whole industry. What they do is everything that happens in the industry. Okay, so it's training for a clinical research professional. And then of course we also have a training on how to set up a clinical research site. If you've never been in this industry, you're clueless, it's a good one to take just to get the basics. How does a clinical research site work? How is it set up? And of course we have success coaching. Now, I want to say the clinical operations role is such a highly needed role. As I mentioned earlier, I mean, how people are constantly coming up with new ideas, right? We have Google getting into healthcare, Apple getting into Facebook getting into healthcare. I mean, just those massive $1 trillion companies and other companies around the globe. We have this massive upsurge in pharmaceutical companies in APAC, in South America. Guys, they're coming up with new ideas and new products to bring to the market every single day, right? Somebody is sitting right now and thinking, I wonder what product I can use to transform someone's life. I'm going to create a company to study this. Ophthalmology, so the ophthalmology therapeutic area and clinical trials, I always think it's fascinating. There are clinical trials that target the anterior chamber of the eye, the posterior chamber, and then all the different sections. I mean, I always mention the eye because it's so tiny, and yet if you see the number of clinical trials that are being run globally just to address all diseases that have to do with the eye, you will be amazed. So that's just the eye. And then think about all the different parts of the human body, but also think about as enhancement. So we're coming to an era where, like I said, we're going to prevention and detection. And now we are having all robotics that is involved with human bodies, where prosthetics are becoming more an incorporation of artificial intelligence and robotics in the human body. And yes, they all run clinical trials with that. Now, so there's a huge need. I cannot stress this enough. The program is a 360-degree view of the clinical trials industry, okay? And by that, I mean our premium program. And then, of course, you want to always have transferable skills that allow you to have a flexible global career. I'm all about being a global citizen because of what I've seen happen in my life, okay? It's super important. When you have a skill set that can be used anywhere in the world, you will never suffer on this planet, okay? You will never suffer because there is always a need. And artificial intelligence, yes, there's a lot of that is being incorporated in the industry. There are some roles in this industry, clinical operations particularly. It would be hard pressed for me to see how a robot can run clinical trials. There are certain aspects that are automated now, but even then, there was a big push at some point to bring in, all this automation. And then there were just so many errors. And then companies began saying, okay, if you pay this amount, we're going to have 50% of it automated. Actually, those were actually cheaper. And then the more expensive projects that people would bid for, which had human beings on there, were the ones that most companies would go for. So there is technology happening, there is automation, but this industry is it still has that feel of there's an expression, a mom and pop type of situation, right? Because it starts at all the small clinics, hospitals, you're dealing with human beings. There's a lot of changes in people's lives and we're testing products on them. So there's a lot of that really human touch and one-on-one that sometimes it's very difficult to just involve robots in every single thing. In terms of detection for tests, yes, there's AI being used, big data management, that's really good. But in terms of the day-to-day management of clinical trials, I have yet to see that. Maybe it will happen in future. And then again, I might not be on this planet. But so just saying that it is a great skill to have. It will help you. I mean, I've been in it for 18 years and it is the best thing that ever happened to my life. So let me talk about the programs. We have a basic plan. And it's, I said, our site operations course. It's simple. So what happens at a clinical research site, Tengu? That's really what it's about. Oh yeah, the site is set up in a specific way. Then we also have the GCP course. GCPs are good clinical practices. Those are the regulations that govern clinical trials. You have to know about them, but the way that it's set up, I set it up where it really breaks it down. There are many people who take these GCP courses, but it's theory. I have a lot of people say, wow, this has been helpful because there's something about just taking those theoretical courses. I say they're up here. But how then do you condense the knowledge and apply it on a day-to-day basis? And then you have 12 free weekly Q&A calls. So we have coaching calls every week. But on the basic plan, you get 12. And then 12 for a year. And then the following year, you get 12 more. And then, of course, you get access to our Facebook group. Okay. The next program is the heart of what we do. Is our premier program, is a CRA program. You get the first course for free, the site management course. That's free. But then you get our Big Kahuna monitoring course, which gives you insight as to how to monitor clinical research sites, what exactly you're supposed to do. This is a career to get into seriously if you're in healthcare and you want to get into this industry, or if you're in the industry, a study coordinator, you're a data manager. I highly recommend you become a CRA, because that was my path. It is the fastest path to move up, because it's the one role where you're in touch with every single aspect of a clinical trial and you're important. So remember this, the length of your success, right, in any industry, including this one, has to do with the width and breadth of the knowledge that you're going to acquire. Because so if you're a CRA, you deal with everybody, right? You're dealing with all aspects of the clinical trial. You're dealing with, how does the investigational product get delivered to my site? What about data management? What about other supplies? How do I manage this clinical research site so that they can be successful? Are they recruiting patients? So clinical trials are run so that to make clinical research sites successful, right? We're testing products on patients. I see more people have joined. I just want to let you guys know that there was a time zone change in the US. So I know for some of you are like, wait a minute, the call has already started. We turned off daylight savings time. We have to make things complicated here in the US, right? So I had a feeling some of you are going to join later. I have to say it's a really good call today, but here's the good part. B's going to have everything uploaded for you so you can listen to the call. So welcome. Delighted that you just joined. Hi, Tarek. He just joined. I think Marshall just joined as well. So yes, you're going to have the option to listen to the call. It is a fun one. I'm delighted all of you are here. Okay, so that's the CRA call. But in addition, you get GCP, marketing and branding. You guys, let me tell you something. If you don't know how to market yourself in this industry, especially with the way the industry is run, it's something, right? So I really thought it was important to incorporate that. How do you market and brand yourself? Not just as a CRA, but as a clinical research professional. You get access to our Facebook group and the lifetime weekly, not the weekly. I know Halloween just passed here, but it's the weekly coaching calls. They happen every week and it's to empower you. I always have a new topic because we have the program. It's very robust and intense, but I'm constantly giving you tools and resources that you have. And then here's the best part. Starting next year, sometime around February, fingers crossed, hopefully before, we're going to have a CRA portal or a clinical research professional portal. What will happen is that when you take our courses, we're going to plug you into the portal. That way, when opportunities come along, because I've had this question asked over and over, and I said, okay, fine. So you're going to have you enter your profile there, and then when opportunities come along, we're going to work with different sponsors only for people who've taken our courses. We're not going to do that for anybody else. Okay, Rockstar, somebody just type something in the chat. Let me see. Okay, B just posted some stuff. Thank you, B. Excuse me, that's our link to the YouTube channel. Delighted you did that. Okay, so for some reason, I'm just moving around, and I think so that's our premier package. Okay, you guys, so if you want to know more about the programs, I'm just putting it here. Email CS at Achaibo Clinical, and you can also schedule a one-on-one call with me. It's basic. You have a package that deals with basic information about the industry, free weekly coaching calls, so you can dabble and know what's going on. There's another program, the CRA program. You can, if you're a clinical research coordinator, you're a nurse, pharmacist, you're already in the industry, and you want to do something different, and you're having trouble moving up, because I cannot tell you how many times people tell me, how did you get to the global level? And they say success is in hindsight, right? You look at you basically look at what you did backwards, because if you had asked me, I wasn't doing this on purpose. I wasn't saying, I'm going to be a CRA and I'm going to move, but I just had this hunger to know and learn more. And what I found is that when you come into this industry and you understand what happens at a clinical research site at the minimum, okay, you have a greater chance of success in this industry. And that's the truth. Now, before moving forward, I'm going to move into our 7 habits of transformation. Guys, I really prepared for this one. Yes, Devika is asking about multiple trial sites. Yeah, there can be multiple site trials. I don't know, were you here from the beginning? Yeah, so you can have multiple trial sites across the globe. I'm going to get to questions at the end. Gabriel, it's okay that you joined late. Guess what? Click on the link. You're going to watch this on YouTube. It's available 24 to 48 hours. It's not a problem. I will be answering questions coming up shortly. So if you guys are still following, raise your hands. I want to make sure that you're here and I'm not just talking across your head. Okay. If you're excited about the next segment, raise your hand. Hi, Christian. Hi, Marianne. If you're excited about the next segment, I have some fun stuff to talk about today. Okay. Delighted, you guys. Thank you so much for raising your hands. I really appreciate it. It just makes a difference, that, yay, everybody's raising their hand. That's my clap. So now let us move on. The thing that I'm passionate about, I love clinical trials, but I also am all about success coaching. I'm a certified coach. I'm a certified yoga instructor, you guys. I have been studying the Yoga Sutras now for about 10 years. Anything to do with success in every aspect of my life, I'm all about that because it's this that has really fueled the person that I've become in this industry. And so I'm always sharing every week little nuggets for you. And our coaching calls are the same way. We talk about tools and resources, whether you're facing challenges, how to overcome them. Because the degree of expansion of your life only occurs to your willingness to overcome challenges. We're here to solve problems, you guys. B and Lee have been with me for so long. I mean, really, they're incredible. Like whatever challenges come up, they just do it. Like they literally just solve it, you guys. So I'm grateful for them. And I want to share with you the tools that continue to help me to be a great business owner, consultant in this industry and beyond, right? So there was last week, we talked about complaining. Remember, you guys? Amen, Elizabeth. Amen, amen, amen. Oh, yeah, B, can you reshare that email address? Nicodemus just asked if you can reshare the email address. B can post it so you guys have a CS. Let me go back. Nicodemus, let me do that for you. Just send an email. Just say, hey, that's B and Lise. Just say, hey, I'm interested in knowing more, and then we'll schedule something. So that's the email, cs@achaiboclinical.com. And so where are we? I talked about quit complaining the other week because, hey, I'm guilty of it too, you guys. No accusations here. Like before you start complaining, Tengu. So I always say, first, you accept the situation. I am where I am, no matter what happens. And then what can I learn from it? And then how can I apply this to future events? And then Elizabeth, doing our coaching call last week, just said something so brilliant. And I just went ding, ding, ding. That's it. She said that, you have to work yourself up to these 3 steps. Because guys, when something happens, you can be so mad. And I've been in that situation where I am so mad that before accepting the situation, I would just say, Tengu, you're going to have to accept this situation. You cannot change it. But I'm like, but hey, right? I mean, wave if you know what I'm talking about. Please wave if you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you're working on a clinical trial. There is that one country, I wouldn't name the names. And you've told them over and over again that we need 5 sites activated in the next month. And every time that you call, there's an excuse. Oh, we have a holiday, one vacation. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about global culture, right? And I'm sitting here in the US, this country where we work so much. And I'm thinking, wow, they're having vacations and we have timelines. So, trust me, I am not perfect and I never plan to be. And because if you're perfect, then you can't grow, right? If you know it all, you do it all, then you have to leave this planet, right? And go live somewhere else. Okay, so complaining, basically, those are the steps. It blocks creativity. And then I put this quote on there, which be emailed to you guys. Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. And do not worry that your life is turning upside down. How do you know that the side you're used to is better than the one to come? So you want to be courageous. As clinical research professionals, we're daring, we take on challenges, we say, hey, we're going to create a product that is going to, help all the people who have diabetes on this planet. And we get excited, we do a blueprint, and there are stresses, there are challenges. It's a very let me put it this way. This industry is all about excellence. I've worked with the most intelligent minds across the planet, hands down, innovative. They're constantly, looking for new ways to make clinical trials better. I've had mentors who are incredible that have really helped me. And so what we have to understand is that don't complain, accept the situation. You might be mad at a work colleague or something, but just accept it and it's fine. The thing that I'm excited about this week is habit number 5. And I swear, this is straight from the Yoga Sutras. I had to, and it's Prayajakam Chitam. The chitta is the mind. We had mentioned that, guys. I'm not going to make this complicated. It's really simple. Okay. Now, when I read this concept that so in the Yoga Sutras, there are so many belief systems, it's very ethereal. But I always take concepts that are ethereal and I apply them to everyday life. And I ask myself, how can I use it to help myself in the work I do and somebody else? So the whole idea is that enlightened beings, people who are enlightened, the Buddhas, the Jesuses, they can inhabit different states of mind. So once they've gotten to that level of enlightenment, they can live in different bodies. But the concept of Prayajakam is that even though you can live in a different body, you need to have a principal mind, okay? What that means is that you've had people say, oh, we're kindred souls. I've worked with people who I'm like, did we work on a previous study? Because we just work so well. Maybe it's a manager from a different country. Maybe they're in Shanghai or they're in Abuja and we're just in sync and it's just amazing. And I'm thinking, wow, we're kindred souls, right? So there's a belief system that they're different. It's one mind, one spirit, inhabiting different bodies. So they have the main mind, then it has little mini minds, and then those mini minds have mini minds, you guys. So, but here's the concept. It's the concept of the principal mind. So I was thinking about this, and what I realized was this. The saying, the way you do one thing is the way that you do everything. Because I believe that there are spiritual concepts, there are, scientific concepts, but the question is how do I break this down to actually apply on a day-to-day basis in my life so that I can overcome some of the challenges that I'm facing. So it occurred to me that this Prayajakam Chitam, the principal mind, they say it controls all the other individual minds. So it's a center mind that controls everything. And so I thought about our lives, you guys. We cannot live splintered lives. So they say the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So here it is. If I get up in the morning and maybe I have a really important meeting with a vendor, maybe a lab vendor, who's in Peru, and already I'm like, oh God, I don't want to deal with these people. And there's all this stuff that is going on. And I have all these judgments because, it's just going to be hard. Sometimes there's a language barrier. I have to type things in the chat and all of that. So my mind is already splintered, right? Because the base berry or the base taste of my life, that's already anger, prejudice, stress. And so what will happen is that it's going to permeate all aspects of my life. So the concept that I got from this is simple. We have to always work in life with one mind, which means that when I get up in the morning, I have got to set a vibration that is going to be the base vibration for my whole life. In Africa, we have not enough. When I say in Africa, it's in South Africa, it's in Cameroon. There was that berry that, it's a berry in Cameroon where I was born. Ours is not a berry. It's a berry, I guess. But it basically, when you put it in one side of your mouth, and then everything that goes through your mouth is going to taste like that. We have a sour one, we have a bitter one. So, what is your base vibration? Okay, as you're moving out through your day. So you have to have Prayajakam Chitam, a principal vibration, a principal mind that controls all the individual aspects of your life. Okay, whether you were, a clinical research professional or not, you're a healthcare professional, whether you're a mother, you're an aunt, you're a friend, whatever it is, we have got to get up in the morning and set our intention. So when I read this, I just said ding, 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 because it also applies to the way we run clinical trials. Sometimes I might be on a program that has several different projects, right, within a certain portfolio. Maybe it's a pain portfolio, and then or immunology, and then and then we're like, oh, we're gonna look at it in dermatology, we're gonna look at it in pain or migraines. So there's a lot of moving pieces sometimes, but we have to have the same intention in clinical trials. So that main mind, the prior Jacam Chitam, that main principal mind is the intention of the product. What are we looking at here? What is the intention for the programs that we're running? And so all the separate projects tie into that program. And if there's several programs, they tie into that portfolio. So that's how we want to live our lives. We don't want to have splintered aspects of our lives, because when you have the splintered aspects of your life, then you're going to lose control. So that's something that I wanted to mention. And remember, the prior Jacam Chitam is your source vibration that controls everything. And of course, the way that you do one thing is how you do everything. That's a quote that you want to actually think about. Okay. And I already mentioned it. I kind of ran ahead of myself, you guys. Clinical operations is the principal mind in our industry. And I mentioned that already. Principal minds, we also have principal minds, right, within various departments, right? So you might be in the biostats department. That's the principal department. But then when you meet together with the rest of the team, there is a mind that is superior to that. And then we must all have a shared goal and adhere to it. So I ask people in your personal life, for example, if the principal vibration has to do with maintaining good health, then that's going to affect all the rest of your life. And what happens with one part of your life or your work affects the whole. So that's it for that one, you guys. Serafina is asking a question. I will get to that right now. You're going to have to clarify that. But guys, you guys get it. I'm going to go into the Q&A, but before that, you can just take one thing that you are going to learn from this and then apply it to your life. Your clinical research professional, it's going to help you a lot. It has helped me. And so we will take things from there. So Serafina, welcome. I see you joined towards the end. Again, this call is recorded, so that is not a problem. So I'm going to start with the Q&A. And I'm going to go to the chat first because I want to make sure that I'm addressing everybody. Okay, so Devika asked about multiple site trials. Yeah, most clinical trials are multi-site trials, right? So you have multi-sites within a country. If you're running a clinical trial within a country, you have many clinical research sites within that country. If you're running it globally, there will be multiple clinical research sites globally as well. And so global clinical operations really is the oversight. So we are the oversight across all the different countries. Country clinical operations manages all the project at the country level. Okay. And then of course, the CRAs manage at the site level. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Devika. And then let me move on to Serafina. What are the aims and objectives of the clinical program? Well, that's a very general question. I want to find out, can you clarify? Are you talking about a clinical program that is related to a specific product? So, or are you asking about Achaibo Clinical's clinical program? Serafina, we're going to unmute you so you can ask your lovely question. Hello. Hello there. How are you?
Fine. Good evening from here in Nigeria.
Hello. Where in Nigeria? What city?
Adamawa State.
Oh, I know Adamawa. I used to have a song about that when I was in primary school when I was really young. There used to be a song about Adamawa State, a really nice song. But yeah, so how can I help you? You had a question about the objectives of the clinical program. Are you asking about what we do here at Achaibo Clinical, or you're asking about just clinical trials in general? That's what I wanted you to clarify.
I'm asking what people are doing there too, and then the clinical trials in general. And then after this presentation all the time, okay, what are you going to achieve? Can it able to help you travel abroad to get a job there, or you will still remain in your country, Africa? Is it an opportunity for you
Yes.
to?
So let me start from question number one. The goal of clinical trials is to treat, manage, prevent, treat,
Mm,
prevent, treat, manage diseases, right? So we're looking at
mm,
products. It could be a drug, it could be a biologic, it could be a device that is there to help patients' lives. Okay.
uh,
Um. So somebody, Devika, just posted a question, so I got distracted, and I will get to you, Devika. So, um, it could be that. Now, that's the goal of the clinical trials. Clinical trial.
mm,
Somebody has a product. There are
mm,
patients who have certain disease modalities, and we're
mm,
testing the product to see if we can help the patients. And there are different phases. You have phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and a later phase. You can Google that. Go to
right,
Wikipedia and just type like
right.
phases of clinical
Mm,
trials. It will be helpful. It starts really
mm,
small and then it actually expands and gets bigger and bigger. Like, we start with, hey, to test this product, we can't be testing it on 200 people because we don't know. So let's start with a small group,
okay.
and then we get
Uh,
bigger. We go to the different phases, and we're like, oh, good, we
mm,
can now test it on many people because we know it's safe. Nobody died from taking it, right? So we can go to more people.
okay.
So that's what it is. In terms of what we do, it's not an opportunity, but it's a training that gives you a skill set, which I talked about earlier, because many people are stuck, Serafina. It's like, I'm a nurse, wherever, or I'm in clinical research, whatever you're doing. And you have a
Mm,
skill set that is not in demand, right? You have a skill set that is not in demand. There is not a
mm,
big need for it. And so what happens is that you run out of opportunities in your area. So this is a skill set that I say you people should have. If you're in an emerging market, you absolutely want to have it because it's a growing industry abroad, especially when I say abroad, or outside of the US or US, and
mm,
it's growing, and it's a skill set that you want to have. And we have two basic programs. We have a program that you just take on your own and you understand what is a clinical research science, the basics. But then we also have
mm,
a CRA program, which is targeting healthcare professionals, people in the industry. It's very robust. You get weekly coaching. I mean, it's very there's a lot that is covered. And the reason why I'm passionate is because I've been in the industry for a very long time, and I know this is a need. People need to understand this industry, get into it, or if they're in it, they have to move. And I feel that clinical operation is a good place to be. But being in a space where you understand a site and what happens at a clinical research site, that's the key. And that's what caused me to get to the global level where I am right
mm,
now, and really seeing the success and the joy of getting up every day and doing something that I love and helping
mm.
patients across the globe. So that's it, Serafina. I left an email address. It's posted in the chat. If you want to know more, email us. I'll set something up. We'll talk. What is your profession, by the way?
I'm a nurse anesthetist.
Oh, you're perfect. You know why? Let me tell you something.
With
Back
my
up.
with BSc nursing too.
Yeah, yeah. So this is, let me tell you what it is. A CRA program. I'm not just saying it. By the way, I still consult with companies. So this is my passion. This is something that I do. It's not like
Mm,
my main thing. It's just something that I just cannot. I mean, it came to me. I was in meditation, and I know some of you might be like, "What?" Yeah, a voice said you got to you got to coach other people around the world and pass on this knowledge
mm,
because nobody's doing it. So who's going to do it, Tengu? But a nurse, I do not have a medical background. And if I've worked on the most complex oncology trials, I'm not even going to, but because once you understand the industry and the operations piece, I had to learn what you're learning. I had to take medical, terms, speak with my medical monitors. I was one of those people. I was working like 5 jobs because I would read something, then I would go ask people, and then I would do my own research because I didn't have a
okay.
medical background. If I can do it and get to the level that I am, oh, please, anybody can actually do it. So as a nurse, if you want to know more, email me. Nigeria is hot, hot, hot right now. We have more and more trials coming out. What we do is you take our clinical trials course, and then you coach with me. The reason why I have
Mm,
lifetime coaching is because I want people to grow. It was very difficult when I started in this industry. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I mean, I just kind of I don't know how I winged it. I mean, I learn a lot. And so it was tough, very tough, because I didn't. But so my goal is to support you and your journey. And then while you're coaching with me, then say, okay, fine, you are now in the industry. What is your next move? What other opportunities can you move into to grow? So that's what I'm here for, is to handhold people so they don't have to go through the years and years that I went through. That's just my, and I love what I do. I really do. I just love working with different people, helping different, just helping people grow in this industry. It's my passion. I really, really love it. So Serafina, email me cs at Achaibo Clinical if you want to know more, and then we can get things going for you. If it's something that you think, you're interested in, or you know what I mean, it might be okay.
Or something that I can relocate to US there.
Absolutely. By the way, there are many medical doctors, nurses who move to another country, and then they actually become CRAs. I work with I've hired so many CRAs who are former medical doctors or nurses or pharmacists in different countries. There's so many of them, because you get here, or whether it's in the States, Canada, Europe, wherever, even in China, wherever, and you cannot go through that certification again. They just, because in this industry, they like it that you already have the medical background. It's a very quick industry to get into. And then eventually they move up to different roles. So it's a fascinating industry. Very fascinating. Serafina, thank you so much. I'm going to respond now to Devika. Thank you. Keep shining. You. I hope this provided some value to you, inspired you to know.
Hey, thank you.
There are more things that could happen in my life, right? I'm not just sitting here in Adamawa province in Nigeria and things are over for me. There is so much more that I can do. Okay. So let's go to Devika. So Devika, no, they're not different, separate guidelines for the ICGCPs. The International Conference of Harmonization for Good Clinical Practices, you guys, it's part of our course outline, but I'll give you a brief summary. It's the regulatory rules for our industry. They're not different per country. It's the same regulatory rules. The only thing that differs per country in clinical trials is the operations piece. And okay, let me put it this way. Let's say I have a diabetes project, right? And and I want to run it across the globe. Everybody has to take the ICGCPs. That's just part of the industry. But now the logistics, how do I ship IP, let's say to Bangalore, okay? Maybe there's certain, or to Mumbai, maybe, or to Malaysia, wherever, right? So there are certain things that are needed to ship IP. They go investigational product. I said IP, whatever we're investigating, there might be certain, licensing issues, or maybe our attorneys have to get in touch with the Ministry of Health there. So the logistics vary per country, but the laws that govern clinical trials are the same across the globe. If you are running clinical trials, there are certain rules that you have to adhere to, and that is the standard. And that's why I said it is such a good industry, because I'm running one project across 60 countries. There's one way of doing things in clinical trials per the ICGCPs, and it doesn't change anywhere. Now, in terms of the logistics, how we apply it, how we get supplies to you, maybe even with the administering consent, maybe you're working on a peds or pediatric trial, and the age of consent is different per country. I know that the informed consent maybe going to Japan is going to be different based on their age of consent there. The one going to Peru, we might have to translate. I know India typically has like 16 different languages. So I always start early with India because a lot of languages, right? So we got to, translate as quickly as possible. But the ICGCPs are the governing, and it does not change. It's just the logistics of how we apply that actually changes. Devika, did that make sense? Hope I answered your question. Okay, you guys. Fantastic, Devika. Just always remember that the ICGCPs are here. It's your go-to, and I actually cover them, in terms of how they apply to a site. That is your Bible. Now, based on your country, when you get a clinical trial, how you manage it is going to be based on your country laws. But adhering to that safety and data integrity, it does not change anywhere in the world. It's the same thing everywhere. Okay. Now, let me go back to the Q&A. Okay, there we are. I think that we're done. You guys, listen, I think we're done here. I don't see any other questions. No, Devika, you don't have to apologize. This is why I scheduled this call. I've been doing these calls for a while, you guys, and it's been. I mean, we've spoken to people. Don't apologize. This is an industry that is very specific, and I've been in it for a very long time, so I know all this stuff just because, you know, you're a graduate student, whatever you're a graduate student in, I might not know if you ask me a question. You know, if you ask me a question about how do you, you know, I had somebody recently who was diagnosed with HER2 positive breast cancer. I mean, they're fine now, but they had a double mastectomy. If you say, Tengu, you know about clinical trials. Do you know how a double mastectomy works? I know what happens. The breasts are chopped off, but I can't do it. I don't know what it's like. I can't do it right. But I know clinical operations and I know how to help people and uplift them and give them great opportunities. Okay. So the clinical research program, Chidima, I like it. The basic one right now, it's like $3.99 or $2.99. It's a yearly program. You sign in. You get access to our basic site level course. It's basically you get you understand what a clinical research site is about. You get GCP. You join our Facebook group for our discussions, and you get those coaching calls which get revised every year. But if you are, I don't know if you're a nurse or whatever, we have the prices just went up because, you know, things are moving. So we have now a yearly membership for the CRA program. The people who sign in early are very lucky. They have a lifetime membership. But now it's a yearly program. And I think we're now at $9.99 per year, you guys. So it is basically, there's a lot. I mean, you get the CRA course free, the side course free, you get Facebook access, you get weekly online. I mean, there was a lot. Yes, absolutely. Devika just asked about blood. Yeah, that's a whole different. When it comes to labs, of course, lab values will vary, right, Devika? So, you know, when we set up clinical trials, you know, we have to know the lab ranges not only vary per country, it varies from my neighborhood to the next clinic in the other neighborhood. So yeah, so lab ranges do vary as well. There are a lot of nuances in clinical trials, and that's why I always tell people, come coach with us. With questions like this, we will answer them for you during our one-on-one coaching. Okay, Rockstar. So, Devika, if you're interested, you know, send us an email. And what are you a graduate in, Devika, out of curiosity? And and two questions you can tap. What are you a graduate in, and where do you want to go, you guys? I mean, I always ask people during my calls, what do you want with your life? Like, what do you want to do? Are you happy where you are? Yay, that's fantastic. Okay, I'll say this to you, Devika. You can take it, you can leave it, it's fine. If you really are passionate about working at a pharmacy and practicing, there you go. I was just about to say that. You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, Devika, if you're passionate about being a pharmacist, that's fine. But you want to be a clinical researcher. As a pharma, where you are right now, a CRA role is the best role for you. It's a good way to wet your feet, and then you can use that now to apply for jobs. And again, like I said, by February of next year, it's going to happen before. I don't want to overwhelm B and Lee for all the things that we have to do. That's what I saw. So you're in Kerala, India. When it comes to clinical research, let me tell you something. Whether it's in Mumbai, Bangalore, I mean, like there's so many clinical trials. And your market is so huge right now. Oh, nice. I will check the Amarita Institute of Medical Sciences. I will check it out. So look, if you want to be a clinical researcher, come to these calls. I know that you're going to school, so you're thinking, yeah, that's more expensive for me. If you can afford it, join our CRA course because you're going to be way ahead of everybody. When you join our CRA course, because I know what I'm talking about. I love what I do. I know what I'm talking about. I mean, I love this industry. I mean, I'm always learning and growing. But if you want to get the hands-on information, not like those courses that you just take online, or we're going to learn that they give you the ICU GCPs. If you want to know what happens in clinical trials from the global level, join the CRA course, and I'm going to coach you so that by the time that you graduate, you are ready for the market. Okay. That's what you want to do if that's something that interests you. So anybody who's interested, send me an email. Okay. Ping me on LinkedIn. There's so many people who join every week. So ping me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to help you. Devika, you are so welcome. And I'm going to wrap up, but I want to talk about the concept of the principal mind again. Remember, you guys, your life is important. And what makes up, most of our lives, right? We're just working really. So you want to make sure that that mind is aligned with every area of your life. And again, in clinical trials, if we don't have things right from the beginning, if we are not on, it's basically having an intention, having a mission for everything that you're doing, and then letting your life flow from that. Okay. And again, you see, Devika's in India. We have James, who's in South Sudan. We have Elizabeth, who's in Kenya. Guys, clinical trials are the same all over the world. Okay. But again, what is our intention? What is the Prayojayam Chitam? What is it? Okay. What is our intention? And that has to guide us throughout the course of the clinical trial. So whether the trial is being run, whether that trial is being run in Kerala, or it's being run in Darfur or wherever, right? Or it's being run in Nairobi, or it's being run in Rio, okay? Or it's in, Paris, wherever, it doesn't really matter. We have to have one intention, and we have got to understand the laws that govern clinical trials and really be able to ensure that the decentralization helps everybody out. We're all in this together, you guys. And I thank you guys for joining. Everybody who has a question, super excited. Yes, I do have a participation certificate. All our courses have certificates, you guys. Inside joke, right, Elizabeth? All our courses have certificates. Absolutely. Serafina, I know you're interested. Guys, email me here. Just B is going to respond. We're going to set something up and we'll take things from there. But either ways, remember this. You are important. If there is something in your life right now, and I assume it's interest in clinical trials, the only reason why you haven't jumped into it is because sometimes we have doubts about things. But the fact that you think about something, oh, Marianne, hello, super delighted. I'm looking forward to your email, Marianne. So if there is something in your life like clinical trials, right? I'm glad that I was ignorant when I joined this industry, because when I look at what I've accomplished in the past 18 years, sometimes I'm like, are you kidding me? But just remember this, the only reason is because you have some doubts. You are like, wait a minute, I don't know. Can I do this? Of course you can. I don't have a medical background. I have an arts background, and I'm in this industry doing what I'm doing, loving it, and now turning around and helping other people and coaching them and showing them what I did. So really, I'm not like the most intelligent person on this planet, right? I'm just good at learning new things, dedicated to what I do. I have a passion for helping people, and I love clinical trials. And I just want a world where patients, for me, I want patients in Africa, patients in the Philippines, whether it's Nigeria, whether it's Sudan or India. I want them to have access to good products, no discrimination. And so I want to make sure that Achaibo Clinical helps as many people as possible across the globe to really help them get into this industry and make a difference. So I will end here. I wish you guys, I look forward to your emails. B and Lee, thank you. Listen to my WhatsApp before you go to bed. So B and Lee are in the Philippines. Okay, that's what I always call the Philippines because they're amazing. So listen to that. I want to thank you guys for joining. There is hope. We live in a world now where you don't have to be on your own, right? If there's something that you want to do, you reach out to people who can help you do that, who've been there, so you don't have to suffer. You can just basically move as quickly as possible. There's no time to waste, okay? It's a great industry. I'm in it. I love it. Everybody who's in this industry never leaves. We move around, but we keep meeting each other. It's the same people. So please, come in, learn, and Devika, because you're a student, I might look into a student discount for you. So please come and learn. I'm glad that you guys join this call every week. Go out there, keep shining, have hope in your life. Okay, in clinical trials, we give patients hope. So be hopeful and know that everything will eventually work itself out if you're proactive and you take action. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. And I look forward to your emails. And you can re-listen to this on YouTube in the next 24 to 48 hours. And Elizabeth, we'll see you tomorrow for coaching. Okay. Bye, you guys. Thank you so much. Hi, Victor. I didn't say hi to you. I think he joined at the end. Okay. Until next week. Okay. Bye-bye.